Welcome to the Business of Race podcast, where we discuss issues of race and racism, how they impact businesses, and what employers can do to effectively address these issues to create a healthier work environment for everyone. I'm your host, Regina Newkirk-Rucci, the Director of Equity for 90 Forward. And today, in the conference room, I am so excited to be joined by Ken McCoy and Shawn Davis with Operation New Hope. Welcome to the conference room, gentlemen.
Honored to be here.
Glad to be here. Wonderful.
All right, so we got stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
We got all kinds of stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
But let's start off a little light, a little water cooler.
Okay.
Right? So I don't know. I feel like 2024 is going to be my travel year. I'm gonna go see some things, do some things. And so we've got 50 states. Most people have not been to all of them.
Certainly not I.
So for the states you haven't been to, what state would you most like to visit and why?
Can I pick two?
Sure, be greedy. Go ahead.
Okay, I want to be. I'm gonna go. I'll pick two. So California, I wanted San Francisco. Me and my wife both want to go check that out, like the San Francisco area. And I know it may sound odd, maybe to your viewers, especially looking at me, saying off the aesthetics, but like Montana.
Why?
Messed around and got into Yellowstone, man, and now I'm like, man, that is some beautiful scenery, and like it's all alone and it's quiet. I didn't know I was gonna ever get to that point, but now I'm like, give me some peace and quiet.
Yeah.
Oh, give me some quiet.
I've heard the same thing, like with Wyoming, like in that the beautiful country, just mountains, and yes, picture it. I don't know that I want to go, but it's really beautiful to look at, so I do get it.
Yes.
What about you, Ken?
Well, I've been to California once, but I want to explore more cities in California. So
where did you go?
I went to San Diego on an internship, actually, for AmeriCorps. And that was a wonderful experience, and it was just too short for me to get a chance to experience the whole thing. So California, that state, I want to kind of travel to a lot of the cities.
Okay, all right. And I think I've actually been to somewhere between 35 and 40.
Wow.
We moved a lot when I was a kid. I don't know. Like, some of them just count because we drove through it, but I was there. I didn't see much, but that's not an interstate. But I really want to go to Hawaii. That, because then that's a beach.
And you know what though? I've been around some negative Nancy's like that. Been there, like things are so expensive in Hawaii. I like, well, you have to tell me that. I just wanted to go to Hawaii.
I just want to go.
Yeah, you know what I mean, like that. But yeah, I could definitely see that.
Well, I also will say this:
nice.
I know some people, because some of it's also doing your research, and I don't really like to pay money for things. Yeah, it's not. So it doesn't feel good. So I'm going to see how I can get a hookup, I can get a discount.
If there's a will, there's a way.
Right? You know, Google Flights. Let me get the cheapest ticket. Groupon, and I also am not one of those people that has to go and do everything. I like to see stuff, and you can see stuff generally for free. And then I can sit on the beach and read. I'm good.
This is true.
So, yeah, I know stuff is expensive in Hawaii, but it's also within the states, which means that I can take food with me.
Right.
Again, it's all about what you want to do and how creative you can be in managing your budget.
There you go.
Just saying.
Well said.
Amen.
So tell the negative Nancy's they gotta switch up some stuff, right?
Yeah. Think about it.
That's right.
Think about it.
Amen.
All right, so Operation New Hope works with people who were formerly incarcerated, who are coming back and wanting to join the society, returning citizens.
Yes.
Right? And helping them get reestablished in a variety of ways. But I think, obviously, the most critical piece to that is employment, right? So making sure that folks have a way to earn money, sustain their lives, hopefully avoid that recidivism challenge. And Operation New Hope has been fantastic in doing that.
Doing our best to, absolutely.
Right. So, but I know we still have a lot of challenges with employers really opening the door for returning citizens, right? And sometimes that's an issue that they're aware of. And sometimes it's not.
Yes.
So let's deal with the ones where they're aware, right? Because a lot of employees are worried. They're concerned. I don't know that I want to have somebody who has a record working for me, right? And I don't think that a lot of people really think about that or really understand the benefits of doing that. So can you speak to why should employers consider hiring returning citizens for employment?
Sure. You want to go first, Ken?
Okay.
So I as a part of Operational Help, I'm part of a wonderful pre-release team. We're actually we're a team of 6 now. We actually go into different prisons. We take care of the 1, 2, and 3 group. That's in Florida.
What's a 1, 2, and 3 group?
So a area of prisons that are in those particular groups. I'll put it this way. What I did find out prior to coming to this, I want to do a little research before I came here, is that we have 143 prisons in Florida alone. That's a lot. We, as a group in our 6, between 29 and 30, we're assigned to go out to and offer our particular services to. And what I would say to employers that they're probably missing, I think, first of all, it's a stigma. It's an old stigma. It's a stigma that's, is carried on through, I guess you could say, as long as we've allowed people to be incarcerated. If I can think back to me doing criminology and them talking about when the prison system went from saying they were part of rehabilitation to just saying they were punishment. And that message got over easily through all types of means of communications, whether that be political or media, newspaper, so on and so forth. So all of a sudden, if you did a crime, you're a criminal. You didn't just do a crime. And I'm afraid that stigma has continued to repeat. I think most people who have businesses, they're learning from people who had that same stigma. So they think that is a formula. The best employee is an employee that's never committed a crime. They continue to think that's the best formula. But I do think it's oddly enough, I saw the other day that there is a situation where you have some major companies, all of a sudden, they've pushed back on the bachelor's degree need, right? I think it's 45% of the major companies. All of a sudden, you don't need a bachelor's degree. Now, for somebody like me that worked his butt off for a bachelor's, I can look at that twofold, right?
Right.
I'm like, well, what about me? Or I can look at the fact that time is caught up.
Right.
Time is caught up. And I think and I don't want to get your organization in trouble, anybody in trouble, but one thing I express when I'm in my presentations and talking to those gentlemen in these institutions is let them know if something good came out of COVID, it was this, that now employees need a body, right? And if you have a body and you can be present, then you will learn, you will gather information, you will be good. All of a sudden you'll be good at a job, and now you respect the fact of being at a job. You've mastered the ability to understand that this is the time that I have here. I can be as productive as I possibly can in this time. But unlike prior to my incarceration, I get to go home. I get to go somewhere else. And those individuals who are ready for that, they're ready to do that. They're going there. And I think that's what you want as an employee, somebody that's willing to be there, that's willing to learn, and has appreciation for the job itself and those benefits that's going to come along with it. That's an engrossing thing for somebody, that I'm going to make sure I'm going to go to work. I'm going to be present. I'm going to, I can do what's asked of me. If I don't know how to do it, I can learn this task. Right. I mean, if I can survive in what you might as well call a concrete jungle, where I've somehow learned how to deal with my PTSD, because that's something I express too, that I can't imagine, I tell the gentleman, I can't imagine you not having some form of PTSD in this particular situation. Now, whether that's low or high, it's not for me to say. That's not my profession. But to be in that situation, so to be able to master that and function in a way, I think it does help them when they're ready for employment, to appreciate that job that much more, to get that much more out of it, because they want to be successful. They want to be more than just a criminal. Yeah. They want to be, I think you just coined the phrase, re-entering in society. And that's what they want to be. That's when they want to be looked at. Right. So that's what I would say if it was me talking to the employer, and I think that's what we kind of do as an organization. They go through a re-entry process with us. It was about 3 weeks, and we have some really passionate instructors. And I'll say this, two of my favorite lessons that they teach are effective communication and what was that other one? I'm trying to think of it. It's blowing past my mind, Ken. Effective communication. Shucks. If I remember it, I'll bring it back up. But those, and emotional intelligence, that's what it was. Those two modules that they teach in particular, I figure like if they can prepare and adjust to those, they'll be able to do anything. They'll be able to adjust to any job. And that's some of those things with stress. And they're giving, and another thing through us, they're giving those coping mechanisms and tools to help them not only integrate themselves into society, but in society that works. Because one of the things I think we often go through too, when we talk to them, is like, I don't ask them how long they've been in here, but I just simply say, you're in a job 3 years ago, you could probably say a lot. You can't say that anymore.
Right.
Like, that's not going to fly anymore. Again, that's where instructors and individuals like can do, walk them through that. Give them the mock interview. Be ready for the tough questions. But one of the other benefits we have as an organization, I really feel, is that we could tell them that we do have 250 second chance employers on the books, that they say they'll be willing to hire you despite you have the felony. And I think something else too, and I'm going to let Ken take it after this, is I explained to them, like, one thing we're able to do with those second chance employers, we're basically telling them, when you fill out that application, you have all the skills. You know what you're doing. You got the experience. I can do all these things. But then you got that one question. Do you have a criminal background? You have a criminal record, or are you a felony? And you got two choices at that point. You can tell the truth, right? You know what I'm saying? And most times you tell the truth, say, man, I ain't gonna get the job. So now you're gonna put that negative energy out there, and even less is their chance of getting it, right? Or you lie. You lie. Now you got this great job. Everything's going fine. In 3 weeks, HR call you to the office and you already know what happened before they even bring you in there. You know what time it is, right? But what we've been able to do as an organization has been able to cut that out. Let you know they already know you have a criminal background, so you don't have to lie. You don't have to be ashamed of that. You can just put that on the application and move on for them. And when they come back and ask us, me or Ken, well, should we hire them? Heck yeah. They put in their time. They went through our program. I'm vouching for them. I believe they'll be an asset to your organization. And I think other companies would be surprised how much more or better employees they can achieve by just delving in the organization of nonprofits that's actually trying to help people do that. But that's more like Ken's area of expertise.
Oh man, you said a wonderful range, man. Because with your position as the pre-release,
yes, sir.
That's one of the first impacts that they get about the organization. So they're not expecting somebody from outside to come in to see where they are as is to help them bridge the gap. So that's a big part of that pre-release picture, but also to sustain that success over the next 12 months. We asking them to be a part of a whole program for 12 months.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just hear the first 3 weeks in the career development. Man, 3 weeks, that's too long. I need a job. But you can't skip the whole steps. So you going in and part of the team, planting those seeds in the beginning, I think it kind of helps smooth that bridge out over time. So when they meet people like their job coach or their case manager or their mental health, all the dynamics of the wraparound after they get out, they have a little bit more comfort about that support level because it's free to them.
Yes.
But pride will not even allow people to participate in the program. They got so many people that will try to get in and get denied. But how about the people that want to but just don't get past them own selves to participate? So I think one of the great things now with Jacksonville being the bold new city of the South is to embrace the idea that this is an under-tapped market of great potential. And no matter if the ex-offender record keeps you from thinking about the person separately, the paperwork is not who the person is. Right. And their job in the interview is to split the difference. An employer may have a skepticism or a stereotype that they're thinking about, but if I have the skills, I'm valid enough, I'm easily trainable, I'm willing to work, these are some integrity points that a returning citizen can present in the interview. One of the great things I feel that we do well is we help groom the returning participant in our program to understand that these are tools that you've gained. You might think, oh, well, I did 17 years in prison. I ain't never worked before. Well, some people don't hold a job for 17 years, period. So if we rework your resume and we say that you worked for the state of Florida, you did custodial and houseman duties, but now you're getting ready to interview for a warehouse job, these are some great transferable skills that you probably weren't even thinking about unless you had the collective support that we try to provide. So From an employer standpoint, the incentive from the federal bonding program is one great federal legislation. Hey, I know you might be skeptical about hiring this person, but we'll give this person a free bond during this amount of time, so in hopes that when you hire them that you won't have any issues. That's one thing. Another thing an employer could look at is the work opportunity tax credit, where they could receive those tax breaks from hiring folks from these typical disenfranchised climates, with ex-offenders being one of them. Sometimes a person might be an ex-offender, in-house in transition, and a veteran, all in the same person. And they may not know that those 3 avenues that are inside of me, I could apply for services separately. And I just think a lot of times employers misunderstand the fortitude, the endurance, the things that a person would have to go through outside looking in to make it through a prison sentence. These are job-related qualities that could be transferred into an interview.
Well, I think you both made some really interesting points that I think really I want to make sure get highlighted in this. I think about if somebody were to hold me responsible for something I did, said, or thought when I was 20, now, I'm not that same person anymore, right? And that is without that being a criminal issue. So separating the person from the act that was committed, extremely important, right? Everybody make mistakes, right?
Absolutely.
And so we're saying originally, I'm going to go with our original setup, that this was a chance for you to pay that debt to society. That debt has now been paid. So if the debt has been paid, it means we need to wash that off the books, right? And we need to look at the person who's in front of us. And then, as you said, there are a lot of skills that you gain while you have been incarcerated. We need to be rethinking about that, right? Reframing that and how that could be a benefit. And I think this gets to that issue of the bachelor's degree. I think that has been sort of a default as opposed to, do we really need it? There's certainly some jobs where that's needed, but a lot of them that have required it before really aren't. But what are the skills? And truthfully, I think also, what's the mindset? Are you open? Are you willing to learn? Are you good at receiving feedback, right? And instruction? Are you a hard worker? Because I'll tell you now, if you give me somebody who will listen and will do the work, you come in with that attitude, I can get you where you need to be for the skills.
The world's your limit. The world,
right?
Yeah.
So really for employers to be thinking about jobs in that frame, especially as we're now in this bit where people are really looking for workers, right? We got to rethink some things. And this is, as you said, an untapped market or an undertapped market. And you already have 250 local employers who said, hey, not only is it untapped, it's a really good one.
Yes.
I think, not to cut you off, but I think even though that 250, that's a great number to start off with, but at any given time they could say, oh, well, last year we supported Second Chances, this year we don't.
Well, it's a great number to start off with, but it's also, as you mentioned, and I think this is also one of those things we have to talk about, is that Florida has one of the highest incarceration rates in the country, right? As far as the number of people we have in prison, we're in the top 5. And then for the actual rate of incarceration, I believe we're number 1, right? So when we talk about how many people are somehow connected to the criminal justice system, this is a large percentage of folks in the state of Florida. 250 is a drop in the bucket, right?
Yes.
As we're trying to make sure that people who are returning citizens are really set up well for success. All right, so I'm going to get to employers contacting you all in just a second. But I want to say, okay, so we've got some employers who are like, you know what, we really want to provide opportunities for people who have been formerly incarcerated, right? And you mentioned, for instance, the interview and the applications. But what are some things that people need to know that are going to be beneficial in recruiting and hiring people who are returning citizens. So for instance, the box, right? Mm-hmm. So that maybe that's just an elimination, or even maybe a precursor of this does not mean that you won't be employed, right? But we want to have a conversation about it or what have you. But what are some things that employers can do to make their jobs more amenable to returning citizens, or their job opportunities more open for returning citizens?
Well, I would suggest this. So, and just so let's stay in the state of Florida. I'll say we'll stay in Jacksonville too as well. So like we have this big thing, crime. Crime is high. Crime is high. Crime is high. Crime is high. Statistically speaking, people who are willing, if you're willing to give people a chance for employment, I think right now it stands at about 24%. They're less likely to go back to prison, which means they're less likely to commit a crime, which means that's 24% less crime. Mm-hmm. And we project this as being so important, so deeply inherent in our cities that we have so much crime from criminals, but you won't give them an opportunity to make a legal employment, make money legally.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Let them earn the money. So that's one thing in itself. But I think what it's going to take is for employers, and not even just employers, those employers who you deal with legislatively, those people who you send your money to for donations, who you believe is working in your benefit for the best of your organization, is asking them to say, well, hey, I think we need to take a look at ourselves and ask ourselves, why are we looking at them in this manner? Is there no belief? Is there nothing you have done in your life that had you got caught doing it, you would have a criminal record?
Right.
Have you not run a red light? Have you not let your insurance lapse? Like until we can get to that point, and to look at it this way, I wrote this down. So. And I got this from actually our CEO. He did another interview, and I went back to find this. So 30,000 people come out of the state system every year. Mm-hmm. 30,000. Only about 30 go in. That's after they go through all their court trials, so on and so forth. So think about it. That's 30,000. You say you can't get any employees. You say you can't get any bodies. But I'm telling you right then and there, 30,000 people come out at that point, willing to make a change for their life and not wanting to come back.
Right.
And as Ken was talking, and as you were talking too, some of the conversations I have during my presentation is, it's unfortunate, but here's the reality. That charge is there. And unless that charge is expunged or removed, it's going to be there. Mm-hmm. So what I implore them to do is develop a character where the charge no longer matters. So if you get an opportunity at a job, make sure that character outweighs that charge. So after a while, somebody might look at that charge, and then they look at your character and say, no way he did that. No way she was a part of that. I don't believe it. I'm not buying that. Then it goes back to what you said, because they were a part of it when they were 20, with no direction, nobody giving them any understanding, education lapsing. There's another pendulum that swings as well.
Right.
Like my understanding is the prison, I think it's ACA bases their need for prison beds in the state on the dropout rate. The dropout rate. Because those individuals who seem to have less of an education also almost equals less of an opportunity.
The school to prison pipeline.
With a scarlet letter after the fact.
Which also, just to note, I was talking about this earlier today, the fact that the absentee rate and the dropout rate has dramatically increased since COVID. So we've got some challenges in sort of ensuring that, we need to work on folks not going to prison.
Absolutely.
With some opportunities. But as folks are coming out, we need to really ensure that they have an opportunity to make a livable, healthy, sustainable life so that they don't return.
Absolutely. No more than anybody else would ask for yourself or your children.
Mm-hmm. I think a swing to that, too. We're talking about the pivot points with education, how they used to be that standard. And now if an employer is relaxing their educational requirements, let's say the job is a trade-related trade or job certificates, one of the great things we like to do is give the person the options based on what you want to do. If you want to complete your GED, that's fine. If you want to go get a trade, it's available. If you have trades that you didn't even know existed that tailor to your assessment. One of the great things we like to do is assessment once they come into the program to see what some of those transferable skills are. And as we're putting a resume together and getting those confidence builders up, you're thinking about other options to use those skills that you hadn't even thought about. Solar, technology, all these new industries that are coming to Jacksonville and Florida as a whole. Even if you leave Jacksonville and go back home, you'll have these skills and these certifications that you got from the program. And it didn't cost you anything but time and attention. So I think the next couple of years, employers should be able to embrace the fact that this person is coming out, being retrained and reskilled, but also re-promoted back under a preventative recidivism mantra. And then you got a program with you. So that advocacy is big. And some employers, I remember when I was a job coach, we used to bring a whole big old van over to employers, and it was just kind of open doored. And hey, y'all come on, let's go. And they would interview them in groups. So some of our participants have never been on a panel interview. They're used to one-on-ones. They may not have never had an interview at all in their lives. May have worked, but the way I work, didn't have a formal interview. So a lot of the things that I have to do now, I don't know how to copy and paste. I don't know how to upload, log in, log out. All this is new. So if we don't take control of that digital divide and rework an employee into that participation process, technology is not going anywhere.
So this, I think, is a really important point, right? Because if I think about if I had been incarcerated for 15 years, the difference in technology from when I went in to when I came out is huge. Tremendous, right?
Sensory overload.
Right. Absolutely. It is a lot to learn. So for employers who really want to embrace hiring returning citizens, because I think there's an understanding that, or there needs to be an understanding that this is a group of employees who, A, are far more likely to be loyal to you and really, really invested. Like, you gave me a chance and I'm going to value this chance. And that's what we consistently see from organizations that hire returning citizens. But they may need some additional supports to really be successful and as successful as you want them to be for your company. What are some things that employers may need to think about if they are going to be hiring returning citizens to support them being successful?
I would put, well, first I want to put a bottle cap on what he said about the certifications that we all, like one of the, I don't want to call it a selling point, but the presentation we give, we do, our organization has worked out the ability with local colleges to have certification in warehouse, forklift, carpentry, electrical, OSHA,
CDL,
and that's the capital, like CDL. I don't know how or who
That's great.
put that together, but like that's awesome. That's awesome. So those things are right there. But I think you make an interesting point, and again, it's one of those reflective things as an employer. Like, ask yourself, if you were removed from society from 15 years, how adept would you be with an iPhone? You know, like, so start, you know, but there are positions that cause for more, and I feel I don't have the right answer to it, but physical labor. It's a lot of physical labor out there that people that a generation removed is not used to, who they would mesh in perfectly. Those targeted areas, that would give you an opportunity to maybe get youth in other areas that are savvy with technology, with computers. And I'll say this too about our particular organization, only because I've seen it, right? I've seen a case where our class groups, which we have about an 80% graduation rate that we're really proud of, but I've seen where they cultivate each other. Like, it seems like the older heads, and I'll just use that terminology, they have a bit of wisdom that they put into the young people, and then the young people return that by helping them understand the technology. They'll spend a little more time with them with the computer. They'll show them how to work that cell phone. And all of a sudden, when they felt so lost, day one when they came out, by that day 15 and they graduated, and they're thinking their classmates are cheering them on, and you see that happening. And it maybe what it is, it needs more employers to take a look at that. Maybe come out to Operation New Hope, come to a graduation, see how that meshing and how that's working. How they started off with the belief like this was too good to be true, but in essence, it was everything that we said it was. It was everything that people this organization started in 1999. It's 2024. I think we're about to celebrate our 25th year. I know we helped over 600 people in 2023. I know we helped over 100 in Orlando, and that's one of our new. And then we have a brand new location in Orlando as well. So. Maybe getting engaged with the nonprofit organizations that that are dealing with this may equal, for lack of term, a good employment pipeline for you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? A constant resource that you can continually refill, and at the same time, you're helping your society, you're lessening crime, you're picking up all the benefits that are out there that you legislated for, that you push for, and all these things. And all of a sudden, we got a society we can be proud of, look at each other in the face and in the eye. Yep. It's just by willing to participate in that. I think that's Brown. You have to be a willing participant in your rescue. Have to be.
Yeah, I was thinking about we were talking with some gentlemen, and they were talking about working with some older gentlemen, my age older, and they were talking about working with some 20-year-olds, right? And so they were talking about the 20-year-olds were telling them about some of the technology they needed to do. And they were showing them how to do things like mow the lawn. Because they were like, we don't know how to operate a lawnmower, right? So there are some gaps, there's some knowledge gaps on both sides.
Absolutely.
That if you get creative in how you structure some mentoring programs or some training processes, that can really be beneficial for everyone involved. Right?
Absolutely. You cannot be what you can't see, and you can't learn what's not being taught. So like those things tend to collide when you have people. And unfortunately, the one thing all those people have in common at our facility is that at one point society gave up on them, but we didn't.
Okay, so I'm going to do our one big takeaway a little differently this time. Okay, so I want to do this for employers who are thinking about it. Like, I'm a little nervous. I don't know. What advice would you have for them? And then for employers who are ready and willing to open their doors, what would you say is the one thing that they really need to do?
Well, great combination of question, because if it's an employer that is thinking about it, you possibly may not have had any previous experience in that area. So either you have a business colleague that's helping you embrace the idea, or you're thinking about, hey, I have to hire somebody. Why couldn't I give this person a chance? Do some more research as a company. Do some research on the benefits of hiring ex-offenders and understand that. Go to the website. Go to irs.gov, punch in WOTC, and read that and understand how it could benefit your program and your company. And take that to your HR. Take that to your head. You might be a person on that small totem pole in your existing organization as is, and you might be that pivot point to help your further company understand. For those companies that are already ready to go, reach out to Operation New Hope. We have graduates every week that are ready to prepare themselves for their new level in life. They're nervous and anxious just like everybody else, but until they have an opportunity, they don't have a chance. And that chance will keep them from being consistent in their goals that they're trying to establish. So if a company's ready to go, reach out to us, operationnewhope.org. And if you have a client that wants to apply, they can call the intake and do the application right over online. So just doing their due diligence and their research, WOTC, federal bonding program, if they're not familiar with it, and just reach out and get more information.
And I would bounce off that too. I would say that too. Like, take the opportunity. If you own a company, if you're dealing with a company, I'm sure you've done tons of research. Do a little bit more. You don't have to get it right one time. One time to show you that these individuals are much more than their charge, and you get what you put out. get what you put out. Like I often say, I don't consider us to be a company. I don't think Operation New Hope is a company. We're an organization. I feel like companies give guarantees. Organizations give opportunities. You have to decide what you want to be, right? So, and this is your opportunity. It's a great, great opportunity. You not only help yourself, but all of a sudden you help others.
It's paying it forward. Violence is looked at as a public health issue, and you could offer a returning citizen a standard living wage for the skills that they possess, or groom them into that skill set and give them a chance. Then loyalty comes, that cross-trainability comes, and you can build a stellar employee by default because you have that clean slate and willing worker. And you got to hire somebody anyway. Take a chance.
And dare I say this, economically speaking, it's only beneficial as a business, as your business model. We are a capitalist society, so we count on people to spend money. If people have more money to spend, it only increases capital. Mm-hmm. It moves the dollar. So, like, why would you not? Why would you not? Why not? Why not give it a try? You've tried. If you've tried everything else, why not? Again, you don't have to get it right one time, and all of a sudden you have this wonderful story to tell, and a program you can develop that can help many, many people down the line. All of a sudden, you're not just a company that makes money. You're a company that's made generational change. Who doesn't remember a company that's gonna make generational change? Right. So, and
you can no longer put the out of sight, out of mind context on it. If you got 30,000 people coming out, 95% of everybody going in is coming out at some future point. Where they got to go? Mm-hmm. You got to have something in place. Oh, well, I ain't worried about that. Okay. Until or when or if it hits your household, then you have a change of thought then.
And the reality is it hits all of our households. So, number one, I'm really hoping that you all get used to these seats because I'm gonna have it back because this is such an important topic, and it's such an important topic for me personally, and I know for us at 90 Forward. But today, you all have just been stellar because I think there's such an opportunity for all of us to address some of our challenges with our criminal justice system. This is a really positive one that benefits everybody.
Absolutely.
So wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And please, just real quick, for people who are interested, if they want to reach out to Operation New Hope, how do they do that?
He gave you the website, but please, you can. We have social media on Instagram, Facebook. I think we also have a Twitter page, but you can reach us at Operation New Hope. Here in Jacksonville, it's 1830 North Main Street. Please stop by. We'll never hesitate to talk to you and help you out in some way, shape, or form. If you've dealt with the criminal justice system, whether you've just been in jail or incarcerated, please stop by to see what we can do for you on that level. And I just can't say it enough. Our particular pre-release group goes out to 29 different prisons, so I won't call them out, but I will say this. We have locations in Jacksonville. We have a remote location in St. John's. We're working in the jails in Clay, and we also have 2 offices in Orlando, one in Orange County, another one in Brevard or Space Coast, and we have a partnership in Tampa. So we're trying to do, and we're also doing a facility in Tampa as well, working on that. So we're trying to take care of this whole East Coast thing, because I got this idea that we're going to be national, and I'm going to be taking flights and seeing more of these states and teaching people what I'm doing, because I do have a passion for what I do. I love this job. I love this organization. And by all means, if you have an opportunity to support us or come check us out, do so.
Yeah. And you all have just been doing phenomenal work. Even the fact that you all have gotten recognition from our state leadership, It's been tremendous. And I just want to tell you that we greatly appreciate it. So thank you so much.
So honored to be a part of it.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us in the conference room today. Again, get used to the seats because I will have you back.
We look forward to it.
Yes, definitely. We're glad to be here.
Thank you for having us.
Yes,
thank
wonderful.
you.
Thank you so much.
All right, and thank you for joining us today in the conference room. If you found this information helpful and beneficial, be sure to subscribe. That way you get notified of all of our new content, and we like to be liked. So click that like button. That helps us get more viewership and get our message out to more people. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week in the conference room. Take care.